Wow, so apparently my Randy Blockett video is a hypocrite, ruffled some feathers. So in this video, I want to clarify, I guess, my point I was making, and I want to address some of the comments that I've made in response to other people's comments. And I also want to address, I guess, what the direction of this channel is. Firstly, I'm going to start with the direction of this channel. There is no direction. I'm not trying to be YouTube famous. I'm not some social media outdoor influencer. This channel is a hobby of mine. I have another channel that I was working on that's a lot more personal. I didn't want to mix the two channels. I wasn't going to talk about one on the other, but since all the heat kind of has been put on from my last video, got a little bit of traction, not a ton. I gained like 20 new subscribers from it. Got into a few back and forths in my comment section. So it's only a matter of time before somebody finds my other channel and realizes that, you know, the same person. My other channel is more about my personal life, my struggles I had with addiction, kind of like my midlife crisis I was going through earlier this year, and kind of, I don't want to say self-help type stuff, but just kind of all the mistakes that I've made in my life and places where I went wrong, and, you know, pitfalls that people can help, you know, avoid falling into addiction like I did, or making a lot of the same bad decisions I did. So if you want to check that channel out, it's called The Fallen Heathen. It's, like I said, a lot of personal stuff. It's more, I would say it's more meaningful to me than this channel. This channel was just supposed to be a hobby. What do we got there? Little jumping spider. This channel was a hobby of mine. I started this channel a long time ago around kayak fishing. I saw that a lot of these guys that were building stuff for their kayaks just didn't have a lot of craftsman skillship, and I did. I was a fabricator, so I could build nice things. So I was like, I'm gonna build nice things for kayaks. I was gonna build like a really cool tackle box that like molded into the kayak and all kinds of stuff. You know, I did a video on my wireless trolling motor I put on there and build a really cool transom mount and stuff like that. However, life changed, things changed, but the channel still existed. So I figured now I would just use this channel to post things that I want to talk about. You know, I'm in the garage tinkering with something. If you go back through my last handful of videos I've posted recently in the last couple years of this channel, it's just been stuff I've been tinkering with in the garage. I'm like, maybe somebody will find this interesting. Maybe somebody will get some a good idea out of this. Maybe this is something somebody hasn't tried before. So that's what this channel is about. Also going to use it to voice my opinion on things that I see or I find issues with in the fishing and archery. You know, archery is another big part of my life. So if you guys are all up in arms about what I had to say about Randy, wait till I get to the archery community, because I have plenty to say about the crap that they push and the issues I see there. You know, archery has been a huge part of my life. I mean, not as much as fishing has. I've been fishing for the last 35 years, but archery I've been doing for the last 15 years, I guess. But so, you know what, really, you know, I want to eventually film maybe some videos. You know, dove season's coming up. Maybe I'll grab a couple GoPros and take it with me to Arizona for opening day and go bird hunting with my son, film some of that stuff. This channel is a hobby of mine, so I'm not trying to get famous. I don't care who I piss off. I don't care if you guys like me or not. Honestly, I think people are sick and tired of fake influencers on the internet. We all saw what's going on right now with Tim Kennedy and Stolen Valor, and everybody is realizing that most of these influencers are fake. They're super fake, and people want honesty and whatever. Those are the people I guess I'm trying to attract, are the people that want to hear the truth, no matter at what cost, I guess. So that brings me to my next point. I match energy. You come at me sideways in my comments, I'm going to dish it right back. Now, do I take it a step further? Maybe. Maybe I need to be a little bit better about that. But I'm not going to apologize for who I am, and I'm not going to apologize for the way that I talk, bottom line. So if you're going to come at me in my comments and you're going to be snarky and you're going to be rude and use a bunch of exclamation points, I'm going to dish it back out. Sorry, not sorry. So I try to engage with as many people as I can when I get comments. I know it helps the channel, and I want to interact with the community. I want people, I don't mind criticism. You know, one of the guys that called me out for my language, I guess you could say, in my comments, we had a good back and forth after that, and I appreciate the criticism. And like I said, I'm not trying to grow this channel on being some fake influencer and being somebody I'm not. And if you go to my other channel, you'll learn about my history and understand why I am or who I am in the grand scheme of things. So yeah, so that's addressing the comments and that kind of stuff. I'm not going to block people. I'm not going to take comments down. I'm not going to censor people. If you see that I had edited one of my comments, it's probably because I had posted it and then thought of something more clever to add. Yeah, I am who I am, and sorry, not sorry. That's what you guys are going to get. If you don't like it, maybe this channel is not the channel for you. I'm also not the top 10 baits for August guy. You know, I'm a recreational fisherman. I do it for fun during the, you know, summer months or the warmer months, and during the colder months, I'm shooting my bow and hunting. So, I mean, I'm not like some profound bass fisherman. I'm not some profound bow hunter. I'm just a guy that has some opinions. I see a lot of BS when it comes to these social media influencers, and I don't know, I have a strong opinion. So that's what you're going to get from that. Now, to clarify what I had talked about in that Randy Blockett is a hypocrite video, I don't care that he's making money with social media. I'm a red-blooded capitalist American. I do not care. However, the point of the video was that he keeps coming on his channel and making a living. First of all, a couple guys pointed this out to me and I didn't even catch it. So thank you to some of you people in the comments that if it wasn't for forward-facing sonar, Randy would have nothing to talk about on his channel. So he's making money off of forward-facing sonar by proxy of him fighting against it. So there's that. But my point is he's always complaining about technology and how technology is ruining bass fishing. And if he wants to make the point that technology is ruining bass fishing in that the next generation aren't going to learn, you know, different, you know, time of the year patterns and all this stuff, he's right. However, all sports progress. And he's only going after the one technology he doesn't like. And while making money off of technology in that social media, and social media, you know, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube especially, has cut the learning curve of learning how to fish in half. It probably even more so. Like now you can take somebody that's never fished a day in their life. They can spend a month on YouTube learning what rods, what reels, what line. You know, you're gathering data from all these different high level, because I do it too. I watch Jacob Wheeler. I watch, you know, Tyler Burton. I watch, you know, G-Man, Gerald Swindle. I watch these guys, Tactical Bassing. I watch all these channels because they have a wealth of knowledge. They spend hours, they spend hundreds of thousands of hours on the water fishing, and they know stuff. So I'll watch a video, I'll watch 10 different people talk about chatterbaits. Even though 90% of the information is the same from video to video, you might catch something a little different in there. So social media has cut the learning curve of learning how to fish in to a small percent or a smaller window, right? So you're encouraging more people to go out fishing. Because I tell you what, there's nights where I'm like, man, I don't feel like getting up in the morning and going fishing. I'll watch a couple YouTube videos and I'm fired up. Let's go. So not only is it encouraging more people to go out and try, it's teaching people how to catch more fish, how to be more productive on the water. We have map breakdowns and stuff. And all. So my point of the video was that social media is having a greater impact on the amount of fish are being caught than forward-facing sonar is. Now, the people that have forward-facing sonar are catching a higher percentage of the fish when they're on the water. But if you took, I even did this, I went into ChatGPT, another technology that's going to be ruining a lot of things, a lot of industries. You know, I did an earlier video on this channel actually talking about Randy and how he's just kind of an old man facing, shaking his fist at the kids to get off his yard, about how technology has taken over the industry that I was in, and it just happens with everything. However, so yeah, it's cutting the, I lost my train of thought there. It's cutting the learning curve in half. People, that's what I did. I went on ChatGPT and I entered a bunch of these questions and, how many people in the United States fish? How many people in the United States have a boat? How many people in the United States use forward-facing sonars? And it broke it down the best it could because there's not a lot of data out there. But when you break it down to its minutia, it's a very small percentage of people that actually fish, people that actually have a boat, and people that actually have forward-facing sonar. But, and I also asked it, how many people use social media for fishing? And it was another that was a pretty big percentage of the amount of people that are fishing that are using social media to get advice, to buy new gear and what's the freshest new bait on the market and the freshest new technique on the market and how to fish it and where to fish it. And so basically my point of this whole thing is if he wants to crusade against forward-facing sonar and how it's ruining competitive bass fishing, or how it's not teaching this next generation how to fish outside of using that, like different patterns that fish have and times of the year and then that's fine. And I agree with that. It's not something I plan on using. I'm not a huge fan of it. I did a short video talking about I'm a tinker. I like all that kind of stuff. I like learning how everything works. I don't really necessarily, I enjoy catching fish, but that's not my primary goal. My primary goal when I go out fishing is, can I trick them today? Not, can I find them on this sonar and throw to them? Now, that being said, I had also mentioned in that video that the fish are going to start getting smart to this. And the other night, on Bass Fishing After Dark, Tyler Burton was on there and a couple of other guys, and they were talking about this. And they had even mentioned that now a lot of guys, when they face their sonar at the fish move. So they're having to scan their sonar at them, shine the sonar at them, and then turn it away immediately and then cast to that spot. And because they're getting smart to the pings from that sonar, and they're moving and they're moving and they're moving and they're chasing them down. Now, Randy did a video talking about some bass fisherman that said he had chased a fish for like a quarter of a mile to catch it. That's gross. I don't like that. Personally, that's not my gig. But if you're competing with a bunch of people that are using it, you kind of have to do what you have to do to catch fish. My point is they're getting smart onto this technology. And eventually they're gonna get harder and harder to catch. The forward-facing sonar stuff's gonna get less and less effective, just like everything. Remember when the chatterbait first came out? It was the crazy most effective bait on the market. Now it's still pretty effective, but I've been going back to spinner baits because nobody uses spinner baits anymore, and I catch twice as many fish as I do on a spinner bait than I do when I'm throwing a chatterbait. Right? Same thing with whopper ploppers. Whopper ploppers had a huge high, and then they kind of fizzled out. Big baits, big glide baits, and big swim baits and stuff. They were crazy good 20 years ago when nobody was using them, but now a lot of people are using them, and the fish are getting smart to them. The fish get smart to everything. right? So do I think this, technology is going to get obsolete? No, but it's definitely going to become less and less and less effective as time goes on, and it'll kind of, I don't want to say fizzle out, but it'll just become less effective. And I guess guys like Randy will be more in demand. And that's another thing I'm sure Randy's upset about, is he does these lake breakdowns and he does these instructional videos on how to fish these patterns. Well, people aren't watching that content anymore because people are using forward facing sonar, are going to start using forward facing sonar and want to learn how to use that technology. So I think that's another one of his fears, is it's biting into his profits. It's biting into how he makes a living. Less and less people are going to want to watch videos on how to, seasonal patterns of bass and stuff like that, when they're like, I just need to learn how to use my forward facing sonar good, so I'm going to go to this channel or that channel. So that's another issue. So that was my point of that video, of calling Randy a hypocrite. He is a hypocrite because he uses technology every day to teach people how to catch more fish, how to be more effective when you're on the water, what rods, what lines, what da-da-da-da. I don't care that he's making money doing it. I watch all this kind of content myself. I don't have a problem with him making money on it. I think he just needs to be more clear when he says technology is ruining bass fishing, because what technology are you talking about exactly? And we all know he's got one issue, and that's fine. That's fine. You can have that issue. I also don't like it. I'm not a big fan of forward facing sonar. I don't plan on using it, but he needs to be more specific on what technology is actually ruining bass fishing. And one last thing, he always says it's spotlighting, spotlighting a deer, catching a deer caught in the headlights. Tyler Burton had a great analogy the other day on that bass fishing after dark video. My dog's wandered off. I need to go find him. He said it's like hunting at night and in the dark, and the woods are in front of you, or fishing without forward facing sonar is like hunting at night in the dark. The woods are in front of you. There's deer in the woods, and you're just shooting out into the woods and hoping to hit something. So that would be like fishing without it. There's fish there. The structure's there. You think there might be fish there, and you're casting and trying to find them. Where forward facing sonar is hunting in the daylight. Now you can see there's, a buck over there and two does, or, you know what I mean? And now you have a target to aim at. So I think that's probably one of the best analogies of how forward facing sonar works. You still got to get close enough to the deer. You still got to get a good shot at the deer. Just like you still got to, with the forward facing sonar, you found the fish you want, but you still got to get the fish, which I think works a lot better than his, forward facing sonar spotlighting, da-da-da-da-da. And yeah, I think that analogy works a lot better. So basically, that was my point of that video. Like I said, this channel is a hobby of mine. I'm going to talk about whatever I feel like talking about. I'm going to talk about things that I'm messing around with in the garage. Coming up here is going to be archery season. I'll probably do some arrow building videos, or broadhead talk and stuff like that, because that's another huge controversy. What broadheads to use and what vanes to use and what arrows, and these YouTube influencers are selling you $500 set of arrows, and there's a lot of issues in that community as well. So I guess if I have to be the heel, then I'll be the heel. That's what my channel is about, is whatever the heck I want to talk about. And if you enjoy it, I guess subscribe. Talk to you guys later.